Hey everybody, long time no see, and apparently long time no talk because I mispronounced the word long there. I am Brian Nichols with touringplans.com. I am just here to talk about what's going on. It has been so long. I haven't been posting a lot of videos. Jeff, nice to see you. You were actually here early waiting for me. That's great to see. Um, so I just wanted to, you can call me Brain, it's fine. He misspelled my name in the chat, which has been happening since I was a kid, so it's fine. Um, I wanted to do this for a few reasons. One, I just wanted to talk. There's a lot going on in travel, in theme parks, and everything right now. But first, before you guys ask any questions you have, of course, any topics you want me to discuss, go ahead and put them in the chat now, and I will go through as much as I can while we're waiting for some people to join here and for the chat to really ramp up. I wanted to explain a little bit what's going on with Touring Plans and our YouTube channel, and specifically. D, what's up? I haven't seen you in a while either. I haven't seen many people in a while. 2020, right? So touringplans.com still going strong, doing well. We've been better, but 2020, everybody's been better, right? But we're fine. We're chugging along. We're back in the parks. We're doing all of our research. One thing that we have done over this last few months is start a travel agency, also called Touring Plans. We are the experts in smart travel, as my shirt says. I don't want to touch it too much because that's where my microphone is. But the travel agency is a full service travel agency, not just Disney oriented. I am doing some admin work for the travel agency. In fact, that's mostly what I've been doing, along with Annette Jackson, the fabulous Annette Jackson, I think I'm legally obligated to say, and some really, really great agents that we have working for us now. So anybody, if you are planning a trip, if you have recently planned a trip, you can transfer reservations to Touring Plans if you've booked it within the last 30 days with Disney, sometimes longer for others. You go to touringplans.com/travel. You can put in quotes, you can contact us, you can do all that sort of stuff. But because I've been working a lot on that, I haven't been doing as many of the videos. Also, I haven't been to the theme park since February, I think. So any videos that I did film then, not necessarily applicable right now because the parks look a ton different, as I'm sure most of you are aware. So I haven't, since I haven't been able to film new stuff yet. I should be, by the end of the year, I'll probably end up in Florida at some point. I'll film some new videos. We've had some Steve Bloom put up some videos about some of the experiences he had, both in using Touring Plans and getting to Hollywood Studios, which is kind of a bear right now with the restrictions. And I'm going to also start branching out the channel a little bit, so it's not going to be totally theme park related. One of the things I'm pretty excited about being able to do at some point is go on my very first cruise. Never been on a cruise. Now that I'm doing more travel agency work, and the travel agents we have do book cruises, both, Disney Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian Cruise Line, what name a cruise line, lots of them. And I'd never been on one, which seems, unusual. So I'm going to try to get on one of, if not the first Royal Caribbean cruise that sails. Right now, that's scheduled for December 4th. When that actually sails, who knows? But I'm going to do some of my normal videos that I would do in the theme parks there. Ship tour, stateroom tour, all the new procedures in place, the cleaning procedures. Where and when you have to wear a mask, which is everywhere and and all the time basically. I'll do all that stuff for the cruise ship too. And I might pop in, depending on where we end up sailing out of, I might pop into Disney for a day or two as well. I'll be able to get some stuff up there. So it's not like we're changing the channel over completely to like a cruising channel or whatever. But since I'm doing it, I might as well film some of it. Annette Jackson, who I mentioned before, is going to try to be on one of the first Disney Cruise Line cruises to show you what that looks like as well. So a lot of really fun stuff that we're going to be doing over the next, few months, few years. while travel gets back to normal. So, um, dudes and dudes there, how you doing? I just left Animal Kingdom Lodge. That's great. I do well. I miss being able to go anywhere, to be honest with you. But yeah, I miss the watching all of our researchers in the parks and doing Disney stuff. I don't know that I'm necessarily mentally ready to go back to crowds yet, but I do miss being in the parks and the hotels. I really do love the hotels there. Thank you. Yeah, the T-shirt. This is technically the logo and slogan for the travel agency, but it works for touring plans all over the place anyway. Um, but yeah, Jeff here asked about my opinion on the claim of a 25% capacity. So it was reported by a few different places, I don't remember where, that Disney had increased capacity to more like 50% in the Disney World parks. Bob Chapek, who is the CEO, chairman, I don't know what his title is now, of Disney Parks, said that no, 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 we're still no more than 25%. I don't, I don't know where, I think my, my uneducated guess here is that it's probably a little bit more than 25%, but if it is, I don't think it's a lot. The problems are, and a lot of you, I'm sure, have seen, excuse me, um, I'm sure a lot of you have seen that parks are definitely getting busier. Our crowd calendar numbers, our wait times are kind of up, well, especially like Columbus Day week. They were up where they would normally be for that week, which is, sevens to sometimes popping into a nine, even a 10 range. A lot of the reason for that, is just that the capacity is so much lower. So a ride, a roller coaster, Big Thunder Mountain, for example, they normally can get like 3, 4 trains on there, almost full of people, if not full. Well, now they can still put 3 or 4 trains on, but now you're looking at, 45% capacity because you got to skip every other row. And so if you have 1,000 people in line, okay, maybe before that was a 30-minute wait. Well, now it's a 65, 70-minute wait. So that is definitely messing with a lot of stuff at Disney right now, where, the wait times are going up because you just can't put as many people on a lot of these rides. There's also a lot of shows that are closed, so that decreases the overall capacity. So it could be at like 25 or 30% capacity, and but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I believe they're holding it at 25, but it's messing with a lot of stuff. Um, Dudes here says they must not have the ride vehicles fully staffed because the times are going on. Yeah, and that's some of it too. They've been trying to be as frugal as possible with the staffing. I mean, we know they just laid off a whole bunch of people. They're not doing the student program right now. So there's a lot of other stuff going on that, even if they don't increase guest capacity, are going to increase wait times. And you do notice it some rides where they can fill it up a little bit more. A ride like I apologize, I don't know exactly what the procedures are on all of the rides. Like I said, I haven't been in a while, and my attentions have been focused a little bit elsewhere. But a ride, let's say like Peter Pan, where I believe they are still using all of the ride vehicles. It's just one group per ride. Something like that, the capacity doesn't really get affected as much. Where something, especially the roller coasters, I mean, you're down to no more than 50% capacity on that. In some cases, probably like 35, 40% capacity. So that's really going to cut down. And like dude said, the having less staff on there is really going to hurt. Disney, one of the things that you notice if you go to a lot of other parks, not Disney, not Universal, but like a Six Flags or a local park, where maybe they don't have the same staffing that Disney does. Where, Disney a lot of times would put 3, 4 cast members on a ride, at the start of the line, at, the fast pass point, 2, 3 cast members at load. Well, now cut that in half. Now all of a sudden there aren't people getting everybody prepared. That's part of what Disney has figured out, is that you can increase capacity on a ride a lot of different ways. And one of those ways is preparing the guests to get on. So that's one of the reasons why, if you notice, almost every Disney ride, if not, I think every Disney ride, you see the ride vehicle before you get there. That's not an accident. That is so that people know, one, what to expect, so they're not too freaked out by it in the case of more of a thrill ride, but also so that they know, you think of Peter Pan. I'll use that as an example again. The way the line comes up, the pirate ships are moving this way, the line is coming this way before you make the last turn to get onto the conveyor belt. Well, that whole time you're there, most people are looking at the ride vehicle and saying, oh, look, it's a moving sidewalk, that's how we have to get on. They know that. Then there's cast members there, that say, oh, watch your step, how many people, this and that. You cut all those cast members out, now all of a sudden people aren't as prepared, that causes delays. Stuff like that adds up over the course of a day, and you do really notice it. Jeff asked, for future cruise content, we'll be reviewing ports of call as well. I'll basically be reviewing anything that I do. For the first cruise out, it's probably not going to be much in the way of ports of call. I'm not sure how many cruise lines will be going, how many places, but in the future, if that is something that we do and I plan to, I'll do videos about basically anything. I'll talk at a camera for anything. So yeah, might as well. So we figure if we're there and we're researching it for the agency, now we probably won't have much on the site in the way of cruise content. I'll write some blog posts and things like that after the trips. We're not necessarily looking to expand touringplans.com, the site, into covering all of that stuff. It's just too much, and there's already great resources out there. We are setting up some partnerships. We're going to have a partnership very soon with a cruise-based site that is going to be really helpful, that we can kind of direct people there if they need more information about cruises and stuff like that. So we're looking to do stuff like that. Because we just don't, we want to keep touringplans.com, the site, focused on what we currently focus on, which is, Disney World, Disneyland, Universal Orlando, Disney Cruise Line, and Washington, D.C. We don't have the staff or the time, but the travel agency, Touring Plans, I know, same name, gets confusing, we are focused on everything. So we're going to, we're setting up some partners to help on that. But video wise for this channel, I'll cover everything I can. All right, let's see. Sean, how you doing? Sean, Disney or Universal in January, preferences, possible changes coming by then. I mean, changes, who knows? Probably. It's so hard to tell right now what is going to happen, parks wise. Probably not a ton of changes to the procedures. I think they're going to wait at least until January to start relaxing the things like the distancing and the mask usage. If they just because the holidays are going to be busier, no matter. I mean, even if they're capping it, they're going to put the cap at the highest possible point for the Thanksgiving through the end of the year kind of range. So expect a lot of the current procedures to still be in place, I think, by January. Then in January, February, if the COVID numbers are getting better, if there are some vaccines starting to circulate, things like that, maybe let's keep those fingers crossed for all that stuff, but I'm not going to hold my breath on it, to be honest. As far as which one, I mean, it depends what you like. I really am big fans of both Disney and Universal theme parks, but they are very different. If you're only choosing one, I would say it depends on who you're going with. If you're going with families, if you're going with if you have especially younger kids that are into characters, princesses, things like that. Obviously Disney is better for that. My kids now are a little bit older. My daughter's going to be 12 real soon. My son is 9. They both love thrill rides. They loved going to Universal last year because they were big enough to do all the roller coasters. Universal kills Disney right now on thrill rides. More roller coasters, things like that. If you're a Harry Potter fan, obviously that's at Universal, not at Disney. So a lot of stuff like that um, as far as what your preferences are. Universal doesn't take as long. You can definitely knock out Universal in 3-4 days pretty comfortably if you're staying in one of the deluxe hotels where you get the express pass, or you're willing to shell out the money for the express pass. You could do it in 2 days if you wanted to with that. Disney, it really takes at least four, if not 5 or 6 days to really comprehensively cover it, just because there's 4 theme parks versus the 2. So all of that goes into those calculations. Uh, I don't really have a personal preference between the 2, and the crowds will probably be pretty similar. Universal's crowds on weekends have been pretty high, so if you can do it midweek, that's going to be better. January crowds, we're working on it. We think they're going to be lighter, same as normal after the Christmas rush. Crowds will drop off, but September is usually a really light period, and it wasn't this year. So, who knows, honestly. Cecilia asks, as a refresher for clarity, is your current crowd calendar based on how long you're expected to wait in line at the current 25% capacity? Yes, it is. It is based on the crowd calendar. The Touring Plans crowd calendar is based solely on wait times for indicative attractions. So we have, different attractions at different parks that over the years have proven to be indicators of how busy the park is. Those go into all of our proprietary calculations to figure out how crowded the park is, and then therefore will be in the future. And future is definitely tougher this year because it's, the easiest thing to do is look at equivalent days of the previous year. Well, that isn't really an indicator this year because nothing's an indicator for this year. But we've been working really hard. We, meaning our stats team. I haven't been doing any of this. They've been working really, really hard, looking at the data over the last few weeks. But yes, it predicts the wait times and uses that to predict how busy the park will be. So, right now, there are definitely still choke points in the park that feel busier. That doesn't necessarily mean the wait times are higher, which means our crowd calendar won't be as high. You see that a lot during like food and wine, where people are hanging around by the food booths, but they're not necessarily riding the rides. So the crowd calendar numbers sometimes are a little lower than the park feels. But definitely keep checking, because our stats team, every couple days, basically, they're making slight adjustments based on how busy it is now. We're pretty comfortable with, the next, few months. After that, we're waiting and seeing and making our best educated guesses. This has been a year, hasn't it? Black Canary here. Any word on bringing back fast passes? It'd be nice if they at least had 3 same-day fast passes like the old paper days. Yeah, going for 3 weeks and getting nervous about the increasing waits. Well, haven't heard anything about fast passes. It's possible. There's been some reports. I know I saw a lot of the news blogs for Disney, WW Magic, Blog Mickey, WW Today have all reported that Disney is looking into expanding the virtual queuing that they're using for Rise of the Resistance right now. That could be a way that they get around the Fast Pass a little bit if you can grab virtual queues for things. Now, if it's going to be a virtual queue only, like Rise of the Resistance is, I don't know that. I'm not sure how that's going to work. Honestly, I guess we'll see. But they're definitely trying some things here. Excuse me. I'm glad there's a mute on here, so I don't have to cough directly into the mic. But I haven't heard anything about FastPass. They were going to try in Disneyland Paris with a system that is very similar to the old FastPass, except it was electronic, where Actually probably more like Universal's virtual queue that they use, where it wasn't going to be turned on all the time, but when it was got busy, they turn it on. You have to get a virtual pass to stand in the standby line. They ended up not using it because it didn't work very well. Presumably, they're going to try again when they work out some of the kinks. But all of these signs indicate that maybe they're going to start doing something similar at Disney World. I doubt within 3 weeks when you're there. But as far as the lines, you can still do it. There are definitely some bigger wait times. I would suggest, of course, using a touring plan. They work really good. Get to the park early. They have been letting people in and letting the rides run, 30 to sometimes 45, 50 minutes before the park officially opens. That has varied a lot, so you can't really tell you when they're going to do that, but they have been doing it lately. So get to the park at least 45 minutes before it opens, I would say. Any of the parks, you can usually get a couple of rides in before it starts to catch up. That works really well, especially at parks that don't have a ton of rides, something like Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios. Animal Kingdom, you can get in, ride the Pandora rides before the park officially opens. Then you can do, Safari and Everest, and you're way ahead of the game then. So that's what I would say about the wait times. But Fast Pass, no, and they are going to have to. Sorry, I put a user in timeout just now. That was fun. They just kept posting nonsense, but I didn't know that was an option. It's a fun thing to do. I'm gonna start putting everybody in timeout. That time I didn't hit the mute fast enough. Sorry about that. Not COVID related, unrelated sinus issue that I was supposed to have surgery on and couldn't because that was COVID issue. But as far as I know, I don't have COVID. But the Fast Pass Plus, the way they had it, they're going to have to give everybody at least, presumably, 60 days notice so they can make Fast Passes. So, assuming we would know about that. Now, the virtual queuing, who knows? Dude said he noticed there's not as much social distancing in the queue as much as they were in August. Like I said, I haven't been either. I went to Cedar Point in Ohio, which is known as a coaster park. Did that in August actually. They handled that great. Then haven't been to Disney since February, so haven't seen. But of course, I'm going to cough a ton now that I'm on camera. But yeah, I think, and unfortunately, I think that's just the lesser social distancing. I think is just it's more the social part. I think I've noticed that even here in Pennsylvania, when you go out, people, around me, knock on wood, people have been really good about wearing the masks when they're supposed to wear them. I am asthmatic. I would prefer not to have COVID, so. I've been, wearing the mask as much as every time basically I'm out. But notice people like everybody's getting sick of this, and I get it. I really do. And I think that's just kind of what it is. They figure, well, you know what? I'm at Disney. I'm wearing the mask. I'm not going to stand on the stupid stickers. I'm getting fed up with this, and I honestly think that's just some of it. And I totally get it. I think even the cast members are probably just sick of correcting people after a while. They'll get back to it. It's going to be a cyclical thing, I think, where, it slacks for a little and then, management reiterates, you may have noticed there were signs all of a sudden up a week or so ago saying that if you don't wear the mask right, if it's not over the nose, that stuff, we will ask you to leave the park. And I think that was just management reiterating, hey, you got to follow we know you want to be here. We want you to be here. Everybody's got to follow the rules. And that's just going to happen. Every once in a while, they're going to have to. And I have a feeling once we get to like Thanksgiving, you're going to see that again, where all of a sudden the rules are going to get, a little looser, and then they're going to tighten again. And that's just going to kind of keep happening over and over again until, again, knock on wood, we're through all of this. Amanda, I missed you too. Thank you. Um, yeah, Dee said the park pass system where you have to reserve each park that you go to on each day is extended through all of 2021. So, they're expecting this to go that long. Now, with that, at least they can kind of take that back. So they are letting you buy park hopper tickets for 2021. So they are expecting to allow that. Whether that stays, we don't know. Um, but with the the reservation, they can always just say like, okay, as of March 1st, you don't need the reservation anymore. It doesn't really affect anybody who had already made one. You can still go to that park on that day. It's just that everybody can now. So they're making the plans as if they're going to have to use that all year, but that they can backtrack on. Something like Fast Pass, it's not like they can just say, oh, we're using Fast Pass Plus tomorrow. Hope you made reservations. Um, okay, they can. We hope they don't. That would be, whew, that would be rough. Let's see. Yeah, Josh here says that he rode Seven Dwarves before 9 a.m. Yeah, every day we've tested in the parks, we have seen a lot of that where people are getting in early and they're starting the rides early just to help people spread out as much as we can. Dallas here says that wants me to let everybody know there are changes to Halloween activities at Fort Wilderness. Not exactly sure what those are. I know I saw recently somebody saying that they were turned away at the gate where they tried to drive up. They were not allowed to go in to look around, even though they said they were going to go in and eat as well. The guards wouldn't let them through. So if you want to do that, I I don't know. I mean, I assume you can probably still take the boat over from like Magic Kingdom or Wilderness. Well, you have to get into Wilderness Lodge too, but from like the Magic Kingdom. But I guess look those up if you want to go see the Halloween stuff. Hi Ray, I thank you very much for using the website. Um, do, 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 do. Here's LB Coaster Mom talking about Hershey Park, a park that I like very much. Oh, and Amanda here saying that they were at Hershey Park and the social distancing, the queues was mostly ignored. That stinks. I don't like to hear that. And LB Coaster Mom says the same thing. People were wearing masks, but pretty much no distancing in the queues. Yeah, I think, yeah. And I mean, even when I was at Cedar Point, this was kind of the beginning of August, so they hadn't been open. They'd only been open for a couple of weeks, and it was our first time there, which actually was kind of a good time to visit because the park was the attendance was real low still. Um, there was still, there was groups of people that would just ride right up your back, and it was very annoying. But and some people were correcting them. We saw staff correcting them, but you can only do so much. But yeah, it's one of those where unfortunately, if you're still concerned about that stuff, like I am, the theme parks maybe, just like I said, I haven't been in a while. So Cedar Point was kind of a test run, and it went really well, but we're just not quite ready to go to Florida. Like I said, we're going to try to get on the first Royal Caribbean cruise for research purposes. So I'm going to have to fly to Florida for that. I might have to break out a double mask for that one just in case. Um, yeah, Josh says that he did not feel like the capacity was very low, and that's what we've been hearing from everybody. Which, unfortunately, Disney just doesn't share capacity numbers. Short of counting people, there's really no way for us to do it, and we honestly don't know what the full capacity of Magic Kingdom is. We have guesses. They've said some numbers, 80,000 or so, but I mean, if the capacity is 80,000, 25 percent of that is what 20,000. Took me way too long to do that math. Oh boy. But 20,000 people without many of the shows, with shortened hours, it's going to feel pretty busy. It's still a lot. Yeah, boy, a lot of Hershey Park visitors here. I haven't been to Hershey this year. We actually had tickets to go to. We still have tickets to go to Hershey, because Candymonium, their new hypercoaster is opened this summer. And then they extended those, so now we can use them next summer as well. So we decided just to wait because Hershey also had some really steep ticket discounts, and we were gonna do it, and the timing just never worked out. And now it's getting a little chilly up here in Pennsylvania, so I'm not sure we'll do it this year. But Trevor asked how we can get Toying Plan shirts. We actually have a TeePublic store. I couldn't tell you the URL of it at the moment, but if you go to TeePublic and search for touring plans, you will see there are a couple of shirts on there. In fact, this one is on there that you can buy. It's not much. We really haven't done a lot with it, but they're there. You can buy them if you want to, and I believe, I don't know if we, one of those things we've set up a couple stores over the years and then never really kept up with it. But Jeff asked, any word on testing for COVID prior to boarding a cruise ship? Not other than that they've said they're doing 100% testing. They haven't said how. We don't know if that means you have to test at home before you go. If that's the case, what happens if you don't get the test results in time? Will testing be available at the cruise port? Some of the cruises that have started in Europe have been testing at the cruise port, basically kind of double testing. So if you test positive, you take another one. If that one tests positive, then I think you have to, knock it on the ship. But they haven't said. We're waiting. I think they're waiting on the CDC. CDC doesn't want to let them sail. The current, the White House really wants to let them sail. They're kind of fighting it out. So who knows? We're all waiting on that. Disneyland is in the same situation. Disney obviously wants to open. A lot of the government entities want them to open. California says you can't open. Everybody's just butting heads. Governor Newsom in California is supposed to be giving some indication on Disneyland today. Hasn't happened yet. It's only 9:30 in the morning out on the West Coast, so it's still a little early. But it's just Disney World has proven that this can be done relatively safely. California just doesn't think it's worth the risk. Unfortunately, unfortunately, that's just, we're in a time right now where different states have different rules, and different countries have different rules, and it is insanity. It is so hard to figure out. Let's see. Coaster Mom asked if I got to ride Steel Vengeance. I did. I rode it 4 times, I think, 3 times, 4 times. Best coaster I've ever been on. I loved it. Steel Vengeance is at Cedar Point. It is a hybrid coaster. They took an old wooden coaster, changed the shape of it, stuck a steel track in there, this big, thick, square steel track, and run a coaster on it. So it shimmies a little bit like a wooden coaster, but it is smooth like a steel coaster, and they can put inversions in it. It is wild. It is. I'm really, really glad I didn't watch ride through videos or know too much about it other than basically what I just told you before I went. I had heard it was great, and we absolutely loved it. Cedar Point was, if you like coasters, Cedar Point, which is in basically Sandusky, Ohio, is a fun, few day trip. We stayed at a hotel that is basically in the park called Breakers. It's sandwiched. The park is in the weirdest spot. If you look at it on like Google Maps or something, it's on a little island in Lake Erie. So you just drive on this narrow little causeway to get over onto it, and it's just coasters and a lake that is big enough it could be an ocean. It's wild. And Breakers Hotel is right in between the park and the lake. So there's a beach, a couple of swimming pools there. We stayed there. We got, to go into the park. We got to go into the park an hour early, although the rides didn't start early. but we got to line up. So one of the days we were the fourth group to get on Steel Vengeance and got off early enough to get a timed pass to come back, because for some of their rides they were doing basically paper fast passes. So yeah, we got to ride it either 3 or 4 times. I don't remember. We rode Maverick a couple of times, Top Thrill Dragster, which is wild, great. I really really enjoyed it. Don't know that we'll necessarily go back anytime soon, just because there's a lot of other parks to try. I really want to do Dollywood at some point. I haven't been there, but in fact, never been to Tennessee. So, two birds with one stone there, I suppose. Uh, let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to get through all your questions. They are just coming quickly, so I am. I'm trying kind of skimming. If I miss anybody, I apologize. The typeface is also fairly small on this, and eyes aren't what they used to. Plus, I think these are new transitions glasses, and I think my bright studio light that you can see reflected there, I think is tinting them slightly because they're photostatic. So I might have to remember to wear my other glasses next time I do this. Theme Park Horizons asked if Touring Plans has considered making an official guide to Tokyo Disneyland. We do have some Tokyo Disneyland stuff on the actual site. One of our Disneyland experts, Kai Selga, loves Tokyo Disneyland, has been several times, and has put quite a bit onto the Touring Plans site. It's actually one I kind of forget to mention when I talk about what we cover. Sorry, Guy. But we do cover Tokyo Disney on the site. We have a full planning guide. We have, overview how to find airfare, lots of stuff that Guy has done. He's done a ton of research on it. The unofficial guides themselves, the physical books that I don't think I have one of laying around to hold up here, but those, oh, yes, I do. I have one of the only ones that I've worked on. I have the Washington, D.C. book here. The unofficial guide, actual books, we don't actually control. That is Keen Publishing that does it. That's Bob Sellinger, whose name I'm sure if you've read the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World as long as I have, you have heard Bob's name. He is the one that, his company is the one that publishes all the books. We do help with a lot of the research, but we are separate companies. So the physical books is all up to them. I'm sure if he asked Guy about doing a Tokyo Disneyland book, Guy would pass out from the excitement of being able to go back there to research. D says they ended up rescheduling their November trip for November of next year. Makes total sense. It's one of those, like I said, I'm fairly adamant about the masks. I think they, for everything I've read, they seem to work good. I said I have, knock on wood, no one in my family has been sick or anything. We've been really good about wearing them. But I know a lot of people don't like them, have trouble with them. I get it. And whatever decision you make, that's perfectly fine. If you're comfortable going to Disney World right now, great. That sounds awesome. If you're not, totally fine. It's one of those where I'm not gonna judge anyone based on what they do. I am going absolutely insane not being able to travel, so I do not fault anyone. Like I said, my plan is to be on the first Royal Caribbean cruise. Annette Jackson, who is one of my counterparts in the travel agency, the Touring Plans travel agency, which I started off talking about, but some of you maybe have joined on. We have a travel agency now. You go to touringplans.com/travel. We have agents that are ready to book trips to Disney World, Disneyland, cruise lines, all inclusives, wherever. You book a Disney World one, you get I didn't even mention that. You get a free Touring Plan subscription, of course, if you book with us too. If you've booked within the last 30 days for Disney, you can even transfer it to us. And we'll take care of it and watch for discounts, all that stuff. It's great. But anyway, Annette is going to be on one of the first Disney cruise lines, and we're doing that to see what the regulations are, see how it goes, tell everybody as much as possible. Am I totally comfortable with being on a cruise ship? Probably not, but I'm comfortable enough to do it, and I really want to do something. So obviously, I can't if I'm doing that, can't fault anybody else's decision. But I totally get wanting to put it off. I mean that uh, crazy, crazy times, man. Uh, Michael asks, "What are my thoughts on the garden wing of the Contemporary?" I really like it actually. It's deceptively far from the main building, and it's not actually far. What I mean is that every time I've walked over there, I've thought, wow, it takes me longer than I thought to walk because you got to walk over, go inside the Contemporary, take the escalators up to get to where the monorail is, take the monorail, okay, just, get into the buses. Just, the buses are kind of on the other side of the big A-frame building. So you got to walk over there, you get to the monorail to, say Epcot. You have to walk from the garden wing into the building, up a couple escalators, on the monorail, get to the Ticket and Transportation Center, switch monorails to get to Epcot. It kind of makes it a little bit more of a process than just staying in the big building does. But it's so quiet in most of the garden wings. Those rooms are huge. They are so big. If you can get views, there are some that just sit alongside that canal. You can just sit out on patio, watching the friendship boats go by. There's lots of wildlife out there on Bay Lake. I really enjoy them, and for the price difference, as long as you're okay with adding a few minutes of extra travel time, just walking back and forth to the building, they're really nice. I like them a lot. If if you're looking for maximum efficiency, you really want to walk to the Magic Kingdom in as little time as possible. Then I would suggest maybe being in the tower or even Bay Lake Tower, which is, on that side more. If you're looking for the best bang for your buck and maybe a little more peace and quiet, can't beat the garden rooms. They're great. Let's see here. Ricardo asked, "Do I think Disney will be aggressive with discounts after the pandemic to attract international travelers?" I don't know. That all depends. It kind of depends on when they can raise capacity, what their bookings are like. Right now, they seem to have no problem filling the 25% or whatever they're filling the parks to. Presumably, they won't through the end of the year because now we're getting into, it's October 20th. We're 5 weeks, give or take, away from Thanksgiving, which is a big time. Then another 4 weeks until Christmas, and then New Year's. That whole period, they won't have any problem getting people to come in. International travelers, a lot of them can't anyway, because why would you come to the US right now? We're not exactly containing the virus great. Heck, Canada won't let us in, and they're right there. They're right there. I can't point at my own map. But once we get through the end of the year, let's say there's, let's say it's March, they can increase capacity. Maybe there's some vaccines starting to circulate. Now all of a sudden, oh, well, people are still a little nervous about going, or people are waiting, doing something else, maybe doing beach vacations where they're not quite as packed in, whatever people decide. Then I could see it. Until spring or so of next year, I'm not sure they need to, and they're not going to do it if they don't need to. They are looking for all the capital they can get. But Jay Monroe asked where the cat is. We have two. One is sleeping in her princess bed over there. I don't know where the other one is. We actually foster kittens now for a local rescue. So on my back porch, the sun porch, which if you've seen a bunch of my live videos before, you've probably seen because I do them a lot from out there. We have 3 12 or so week kittens and their mom out there. My wife actually just left to go pick up another kitten. One of these days, when we have a kitten that wants to snuggle, the ones we have out there need to be socialized a little bit. They're not big on snuggling yet. When we get some snugglers, I'll do some of these videos with like cute little kittens. It'll be great. But right now, right now we don't really have them. Jim asks if, oh, it sounds like my wife might be coming back. You're going to hear some dogs. I apologize about that. Hopefully they're not too loud over the, it's why I wore the microphone today. Uh, but I am probably going to end this pretty soon here. This will be my last question here. Jim asks, is it really worth going for the holidays next year? If you were talking about 2021, yes, I think it will be. There should be at least one new ride open. The Ratatouille ride that was supposed to open this past summer will definitely be open by then. Tron, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, those two roller coasters, I don't know, they were supposed to be open by the 50th anniversary, which is October 1 of 2021. Don't know if those will be open or not. Ratatouille definitely will be. If it's your first time, or not your first time, you're bringing your first timer, everything will be new for them anyway. Holidays are great. I love all the decorations they put up. And by next year, should be more back to normal than this year. If you're going this year, not a great time for a first timer, honestly. This year, it's too different, unfortunately. All right, y'all. Thank you very much. Go to touringplans.com/travel, book trips. Use touringplans.com. Love you all, and look for more videos coming soon, hopefully. I'm going to try to get back into this. And thank you.